Good evening, everybody. This is Mike Tedesco, the editor-in-chief of Wrestleview.com, here for Post-Raw number 59. Big number here, 59, getting very close to 60, but I think the really big number will have to be when we eventually get to Post-Raw 69, which that's going to be big. That's going to be big. So that's 10 weeks away. Does that put us around Christmas time? And actually, it'll probably be like right in the beginning of the new year, maybe in time for Royal Rumble season. I don't know, but ooh, that'll be a big one. Daniel Schell, I might have to have him on the show because he is all about the 69, and maybe that's the show we'll bring Victoria back on. I don't know. Well, let's say hello to everybody in the chat room before we really get this thing going here. Let's say hello to Andrew Elder. Yes, he's asking already if Victoria will be back by then. Yeah, I hope so. It's look, I love doing these shows. I really do. It's almost cathartic for me to talk about these shows after they happen. But, it's always good to have some back and forth. So I do look forward to the day when Victoria gets back on the show. Right now she's in the corner getting our semi-naked little baby to go take a bath. Little Liliana is a little gassy tonight, so
Don't judge me for doing
we're trying to see if put her under some warm water, if that'll just loosen up the gas and stuff like that.
Yeah, don't judge me for
But
doing it this late.
she's and don't judge us for doing it this late. That's what she says. We got Nafisa Dot in the chat room. Hi, Mike. Randy M. I hit up Golden Corral and capped off my day with my free buffet instead of watching Raw. I'm jealous. I know Billy Hefner is watching the football game right now, which sounds like a very exciting game, including one of those very, very rare goal line ball strips that just are just incredible when they happen sometimes. Mashoon Walls, good evening, Mike, and how are the wifey and the baby doing? Everybody's doing great. The baby is doing really well. She is 1 month old today. November 11th is 1 month. So that flew by. She was born October 11th. And man, it's weird because it feels like yesterday, but it feels like 15 years ago too. It's like so much has happened in this month. I can't even remember what this house was like before she was here. It's just like, it's weird to even think about. It's weird to consider that at one point she wasn't here. Hell, at the beginning of the year, Liliana didn't even exist. She didn't even exist. Yes, Randy M. Most importantly of all, yes, it is Liliana's 1 month birthday. Which is important to us in the Tedesco household. But here in the United States of America, we celebrate Veterans Day. And we can't forget all the veterans out there that have sacrificed their bodies, their lives, their families to protect this country and serve the most noble cause you possibly can serve. Serve your nation, serve a whole bunch of strangers that you don't even know. Protect their rights. Even if they don't always back you, you still back them. The veterans never back down. The members of the armed forces never back down. There have been wars where people have been behind them 100%. We mobilized the country. Look at what we did in World War II. Everybody went to work. War bonds, factories, women giving, like copper. If you ever see a penny from the 1940s, they are actually, I believe they were actually kind of nickel almost, because we gave all the copper to be used for weapons and stuff like that. And then you fast forward to what happened in the 60s, where we were in Vietnam, in that quagmire over there. Similar to the quagmire that we kind of have in the Middle East, which is a quagmire of our own making. But just because I don't support that war doesn't mean that I don't support the troops and what they do. They didn't ask for this war to be fought. Somebody else made that decision, but they go over there and they do their duty, and they do it without complaint. So my hat is off to all veterans and those serving in the active armed forces right now. Honestly, if any of them are watching, it's incredible, incredible. Randy M says, "Remembrance Day across the world." Exactly. Then, now, and forever. Thank you, veterans. Oh, and Quentin Walters just commented the same thing too. Very cool. Yes, and continuing on, saying hello to people. Andrew Elder, I think I already said and hi. Kit Dyson's in the chat room tonight. We got Quentin Walters, our dear friend. Billy Hefner. Lorraine Lafferty is here. Very cool. Remembrance Day in Canada. Randy M. I had 3 uncles called baby killers and spat on when they came back from Vietnam. Yep, I don't doubt that. That was a terrible thing. A terrible thing. Like they asked for to go over there. And then they give up, they do their duty and they come back and get spat on. It's outrageous that could even happen. And everybody thinks that we're divided now when things are as bad as they've ever been. That was pretty bad too. Sometimes because we have this 24-hour news cycle and social media, and you can just see whenever everybody's angry, the second anything happens, you just get the reaction. It only seems worse because it's right in our face all the time. But it's no different than really any other time period. And as usual, we persevere. We will survive all of the bad, whether you're for one side or against the other side. Everything passes. This is not the end. If you're not a fan of what's going on in the country, it won't last. If you like what's going on in the country, eventually everything fades away and it'll come back. That's just how it goes. The world is cyclical, and that's why religion has a lot of staying power. A lot of the stories in like the Bible are arcane and archaic. It's just very, very. How could they possibly relate to us? But the human condition really hasn't changed all that much in 2,000 years. We're still greedy. We're still jealous. We still lie. We still deceive. I guess lying and deceiving are the same thing. But we still, people still cheat on their spouses. People still cheat on their employee. Everything. Those stories are all contained there. The human condition is very much the same. Anyway, what the hell are we talking about all this stuff for? Let's talk about wrestling. Well, this Raw was not much of a mystery. The results have been out since Friday. They did a double taping. Could you imagine that? Actually, I could, because I went to WrestleMania, which was 7 hours long, I believe it was, or 7 or 8 hours long. So that is 2 Raw tapings and 1 SmackDown taping. That's what it's sitting through. But still, about 5 hours of wrestling, that's pretty tough. Especially 5 hours of wrestling where it's not even WrestleMania. At least like WrestleMania, they're trying really, really hard. Like, this is just the middle of the build to Survivor Series. They could either phone it all in or attempt to give you a little something. But I gotta say, the crowd was with them for most of the time. And this was taped after SmackDown. So they already had 2 hours of SmackDown and 3 hours of this. Pretty impressive. My hat is off to the Manchester crowd, especially after the disaster of a crowd that they had last week in Long Island. That was not pretty at all. Not pretty at all. And they didn't get a bad show. This show, I don't know. It's tough to say if it's bad, but it definitely wasn't great, I guess you could say. It was a show, I guess is the nicest, most polite way I can put it. So we got our taped Raw from Manchester, and the tape shows never really excite me. It's hard to, especially in my position, it's hard to avoid spoilers. In the chat room, seriously, just tell me if, in all seriousness, if you had no clue what was going on in this Raw tonight, you didn't look at the spoilers, can you actually, in this day and age, can you actually avoid spoilers and watch this show? Personally, if I didn't have to recap it, I would just read the spoilers and then take a week off of Raw because I know what's happening and I don't really need to see it. I'll just catch the highlights on YouTube. That's what I would do. But what does everybody else do? Do you read the spoilers? What do you do? Quentin Walters' Raw was a glorified house show tonight. Yeah, Nafis Sadat, a wise man. I looked at spoilers and decided not to watch. Yes. Billy looked. That's rare for Billy to do. I know it's rare for Billy to look, because I know on these tape shows he'll say that like we always text. Since 2013, established 2013, the Billy and Mike friendship. We've been texting back and forth every Raw since 2013. Anytime there's a tape show, Billy says he swears up and down that he has not seen the spoilers. Tonight he looked. All right, it's the dawning of a new era. Andrew Elder, I saw the spoilers. Kit Dyson, I just read your report. Now that is a smart man. Although I also did report the Raw spoilers too, so you could read that too and still get a really, really good feel for what's going on, because that's just how I roll. Quentin Walters, I looked and went to bed. Now there's a really smart man. Machine Walls, I heard the spoilers from Sunday's show. Okay. Doug Lackey's in the chat room tonight. Doug Lackey, the co-host of Wrestleview Live and the host of Wrestleview Weekly. Excellent. Always read the spoilers and judge if it's worthy of my time, and Walter's always worth my time. That's a good point. Yeah, Walter was on the show tonight. Loved it. I viewed spoilers and decided to go out to eat and figure that NWA Power, AEW, and NXT are better investments of my time, Randy M. says. And Nafis, I haven't read the recap yet, but here I am now. Excellent. Well, let's get into it. Show kicks off. Raw Women's Champion Becky Lynch comes out to the ring, and one of those scripted, brutal promos that, like, she's so good. Like, Becky Lynch has, honestly, in my opinion, been on fire with her promo work lately. And yeah, it's scripted, but she usually can take some crummy lines and deliver them with, like, real fire and real pizzazz, the whole thing, some panache on it. Tonight, this was not much. She talked about, the man's back in Manchester, and yeah, this is like kind of like a homecoming for her, even though she's from Ireland. It's the United Kingdom. She said, I'm back in the UK where I trained as a 15-year-old kid. Now I'm the women's champion, blah, blah, blah. The people are coming after me. It's getting harder and harder, but I plan on fighting. The only thing I fear in life is not being the greatest. And it's time for Becky Two Belts to make a comeback, because I'm going for the women's title, women's tag team championships right now. It's like, it was short. I'll give it that. But this was a rare miss for Becky Lynch, in my opinion. I just wasn't feeling this promo. It just felt like a whole bunch of, it felt like an essay, like the first draft of an essay too, being read. It's like, okay, got to present. Oops, well, I just wrote my essay last night. Gee, I hope I got all the wording right. And then you just go, and it just doesn't sound refined. This didn't feel refined to me. And then she teams up with Charlotte Flair to go against the Kabuki Warriors for the women's tag team championships. Okay. I think I did hear something that Natalya had a family emergency and couldn't be there. And I guess they wanted to give them a title match, but they don't explain that to you on television. I know that because you look around on the internet, you're scouring for news and all that stuff. You're listening for things. I hear things like that. Nothing from the commentary team. And by the way, I'm going to knock on them now because they didn't explain this, but the commentary team was really, 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 really good. Because it was two guys. It was Vic Joseph and Jerry the King Lawler. No Dio Madden trying to get his stuff in, trying to feel his way in and kind of learn on the job. None of that. It's just Vic Joseph calling the match and Jerry Lawler adding color. The way wrestling commentary should be. It's not that hard. We don't need a three-man booth. Look how good SmackDown's doing. Like Michael Cole and Corey Graves are tolerable to listen to. It's not bad at all. Because you don't have to have that third voice in there trying to get in, their thing. And it just always sounds kind of clunky. Tonight, 3 hours, it was a breeze to listen to them. Jerry Lawler was just cracking his jokes and Vic Joseph was playing the straight man. It was great. That's how it should be. That's what wrestling's kind of built on. You don't need to have... The three-man group never works. Never works. I hate when I get you have to do it for like baseball games, but like if I watch sports, I hate a 3-man booth. Football, it's got to be a 2-man booth. It has to be a 2-man booth. You know, baseball, if you have 2 really good commentators, it should just be a 2-man booth. Every now and then they do 3, and sometimes when it's 3, it's just like, oh God, I don't want to hear from the third guy. It's too many people to keep track of and watch a game. Anyway, no explanation where Natalya is. Natalya tapped out Asuka last week in a move that I wasn't really a huge fan of. So, and Charlotte Flair and Natalya have been teaming up for the last like 3 weeks. So Natalya and Charlotte Flair should be the ones getting the shot against the Kabuki Warriors. Where the hell did Becky Lynch come from? No one explained that. No one said why Becky Lynch is out there. No one explained where Natalya was. So if you're just watching and if you're a casual fan and you can remember what happened on this 3-hour dirge that you watched last week, and you're like, wait a minute, wasn't she teaming with somebody else? And why is this one getting a shot with her? And why are they a team? And what happened to the other one? It's just confusing. It really, really is. It really, really is. Like I saw on the Wrestleview comments tonight on the Raw recap. It's like people were asking why. Like this just doesn't make any sense. But nothing needs to make sense. They just do things to do things. We got to fill 3 hours. So Natalya's not here. Becky Lynch, Charlotte Flair, you're a team tonight. Kabuki Warriors. Now this was a good match. Becky Lynch was strong in this. Charlotte Flair was strong in this. They managed to mix in Shayna Baszler and Bayley in this match as well, getting them involved. So I guess that mandate where it's going to be strict rosters. We cannot have any crossover. That lasted less than a month after the draft. And I get it. You're building up Survivor Series. I get it. But, you know, it's like they break their own rules so fast. It's amazing. Anyway, Shayna Baszler and Bayley get into a brawl that distracts Becky Lynch. She gets rolled up. Good match. The only thing that I really noticed, and I noticed this before, I mentioned it on a previous post Raw. Oh, James Lasserenz is in the chat room tonight. Just a quick hello. We should start thinking about Crimbus, but I'm half asleep watching you on my TV in my bed. Very cool. Yes, we will definitely talk about it. Kairi Sane has looked off on every match she's been in on the main roster. To me, it just seems like she's like half a step off. Initially, I thought it was a language barrier thing. Like, you know, maybe like, you know, they're calling a spot and she's just not processing it as quickly, and it's not going. She just can't get it going there. But, you know, you work with the same people. She's worked with Becky Lynch a few times. She's just moving slow. Like, you know, there was one part where she did, I believe it was a slingshot into a backward somersault, and she was supposed to do it looked like it was in slow motion. It looked like WWE 2K20 before the patch to fix things. It just didn't look natural. It looked like she was trying to do something showy and just failed. She's not embarrassing herself, but there's definitely something off about her. Definitely something off. I really wanted to see Poison Mist though from Asuka. Now I'm kind of into the Poison Mist thing, and I love the makeup that they're doing on Asuka too. The fright paint that they're giving her, it's a cool look. That's a really cool look. Overall, good stuff. I love Shayna Baszler. I have to say it. You know, like I recap. If you don't follow, you know, if you just check out the AEW Dynamite recap, which Josh Batwell does a dynamite job with. See what I did? Anyway, I recap NXT on the other side. I've been a Shayna Baszler fan for quite some time. Initially I was just doing takeovers, and then one day I was like, you know what, I'm free on Wednesdays, let me just do an NXT recap. Then they got picked up by USA, and I've been recapping ever since. Shayna Baszler is freaking awesome. She's got a great look. She just has that presence that you look for. She looks like somebody you don't want to mess with. And her being at ringside, it definitely added something to the match just by her standing there. And Jerry Lawler did a really good job of putting her over, you know, talking about her face, talking about her presence, you know. He did a really, really good job with that. He didn't do such a good job with the NXT UK people at all. Especially when they were saying Marcel Bartel. And he's like, Marcel Bartel? Like, who picked that goofy name for, a wrestler? Like, he was just, like, he was indirectly burying them that they're not even big enough to be on Jerry Lawler's radar. He's never even heard of Walter before. So that was an issue a little bit. But the regular main roster NXT people, they did a good job putting them over. Bayley attacks Becky Lynch afterwards. So last week I was asking, what are they going to do for Bayley? Because there was a sit-down interview with Shayna Baszler and Becky Lynch, and they just said, we're going after each other. Nobody mentioned Bayley. So I'm like, how is Bayley going to get her heat back? So she got a little heat back tonight. So she got her heat back. Good stuff. We have Ricochet backstage talking to Randy Orton. Randy Orton has been an established heel for some time. OC is hazing Humberto Carrillo. Ricochet stands up for him. They challenge him, and Orton volunteers to be their partner. So Randy Orton just signed a sweet little 5-year deal, or not a 5-year deal, a 5-year extension with the company. Not knowing how much it is, but I'm sure it's substantial. And he is now a face. So faces and heels just change constantly. It's never teased. It's just like, okay, I showed up, I'm a face this week. That's just how it goes. Yeah. Shayna still knocked Bayley down, which was funny. Andrew Elder says, yes, I agree. I actually, and Randy M asks, Bayley is in there just to take the fall. I think Bayley is going to pick up the win. I think either Shayna Baszler will have Becky Lynch dead to rights, or Becky Lynch will have Shayna Baszler dead to rights. Bayley's going to come in, toss that person out, and cover the person who's laying. And that'll be her chicken shit heel thing to do. And yeah, because they have made her such like an afterthought in this. I don't see any way that she doesn't win. So that would be a good idea. And then you can kind of build up Shayna Baszler and Becky Lynch for a bigger event. I'm not saying WrestleMania, but hey, dream big, right? Why not? It's a 15-hour show. You could definitely fit Shayna Baszler and Becky Lynch on there, and even have Becky Lynch do another match. You can have them open up the show and then have them go on 10 hours later. They'll both be fresh, facing other people. It'll be good. Drew McIntyre versus Sin Cara. Oh my God, I want to talk about this match because it just came out today. Sin Cara announced on his Twitter account after praying about. Let me just read what he wrote. Somebody translated it, so I'll just read you his statements that he wrote. And after watching this match, because this was taped on Friday and he released his statement today, I cannot blame him whatsoever. And you'll see the evidence of why I can't blame him either momentarily. But Sin Cara issued a statement, and how well has this worked out for everybody who has put out on Twitter that they want to be released. The only one it worked for was Ty Dillinger, who's now Sean Spears in AEW. He asked for a release, and they're like, who cares? Go. He's not doing much in AEW either. He did manage to make the Full Gear main card, but he does have Tully Blanchard in his corner, but Tully's not speaking for him, and they're just not doing anything past that Cody match that Cody emphatically won, and that was it. But we've had since Luke Harper, we've had Mike Kanellis, and now we have Sin Cara. Let's see what happens. I don't think they're letting Sin Cara go, even though Sin Cara is worth diddly to this company. Like, if he's there or if he's not there, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Last night, after much consideration and prayer, thinking about my kids and their future, I made one of the toughest decisions but most sensible that I could have made in my professional wrestling career. I have asked WWE for my release. Ever since I was a kid, all I've wanted to do is wrestle, and all my life I have made decisions and sacrifices that put me in a position to accomplish my dream. It's been 20 long years of work and giving it my all to this sport that I love and respect. Sport. I traveled all over the world, met incredible people, and wrestled for the amazing fans inside the WWE Universe. That's not a great translation. Inside the WWE Universe? That sounds risque a little bit. Anyway, Let me pull this up so it's not just my face reading at you. I'm so grateful for the opportunity I was given. However, I've noticed that I'm trapped in a place where I'm not valued as an athlete or talent. I've worked hard and honestly throughout my years, many years pulling my weight. I've been loyal, respectful, a team player, a supporter, and I've waited patiently for an opportunity to show the world all that I can do. Unfortunately, after all these years, that opportunity never came, and I feel like that will never come so long as I stay in the spot that I am in. The best years of my professional wrestling career are yet to come, and I believe that the best is yet to come. I am a healthy, disciplined, and respectful man towards my profession and its atmosphere of my coworkers and primarily the audience whom I've never failed. This is not the end. Quite the contrary. It's the start of the new chapter, and I am excited for what the future holds. Sounds like the future is going to be holding a frozen contract. I want to thank WWE for this incredible chapter. I'll always be grateful for it. Most importantly, thank you to the WWE Universe for its unwavering support and to the public all over the world who has supported me and cared for me. The only way to give that back is to keep giving it my all, showing my passion and professionalism that I've always demonstrated. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. Sin Cara looking to go bye-bye. And after watching this match that he had against Drew McIntyre, damn, I don't blame him whatsoever. This is not... Like, to be a jobber on the main roster now, it's not like the days of Iron Mike Sharp and Barry Horowitz, where you get in there, you get a couple moves in, and then eventually you just get beat by the guy's finish. No. Now you have to be thrown out of the ring. You need to take 15 flip dives. Eric and Ivar have to flip you around, knee you in the face, toss you on your neck a couple times, and then pin you with their devastating finish. Sin Cara took a straight up powerbomb on the floor. And they're all about, we gotta just watch out for the CTE, watch out for the concussions. I'm gonna show you this GIF real quick. Look at Sin Cara's head when he hits the floor. This is disgusting. I mean, it's just a throwaway squash match. Look at that. Oh, devastating. And that's WWE's account that put that up. I wouldn't want anybody to see that because that's brain damage right there. So that happened on Friday. And then he's thinking about it on Sunday. Probably still has a freaking headache from this devastating powerbomb on the floor. And just said, you know what? It's just not worth it anymore. I don't know how much Sin Cara has. And this is the second Sin Cara, by the way. This is the original Unico, who I forget. Somebody remind me. Camacho. They used to come out on the bicycle together, the little tricycle or whatever it was. Unico assumed the Sin Cara role after the original Sin Cara La Mystica got fired or quit or whatever happened there in 2013. I don't like the Sin Cara character. From day one, I'll never forget. I'll never forget Sin Cara and Primo Colon. April 2011, the night Edge retired. Going to the top rope for the top rope Spanish fly finish, which why would you give that as a finish to somebody that like a finish should be something you can hit on anybody at any time, anywhere. I just remember them going to the top rope and falling. They fell right to the floor. They lost their footing and they both fell to the floor. Got up, threw him back in the ring, gets him on top rope again, hits the Spanish fly. That is the beginning of Sin Cara. It's like when Ultimo Dragon came out at WrestleMania 20 and tripped on his cape. It's like, okay, well, the idea was cool, execution sucked, and after tripping and after falling, they're not going to do anything with this person. This is not happening. So Sin Cara has been tarnished from the very get-go. So him talking about, I've been waiting patiently for my opportunity. What do you think? You're going to be a main eventer? You think you're going to be, challenging for the world title? It's not happening. That's not what Sin Cara is. Maybe Sin Cara could go for the Intercontinental title. I don't think he should ever win it, but Sin Cara could challenge for it, and it'd probably be a decent match, but that's about it. I don't know what he's talking about, but hey, you know what? If Unico wants to get the hell out of there, he's friends with Alberto Del Rio. Maybe they can do something together. But I can't say that I blame him all at the same time. After that powerbomb on the floor. You're in a squash match. It's not enough to be squashed. You have to be powerbombed on the floor. That is a tough day at the office. That sucks. So I can't blame him. Can't blame him for that. I won't begrudge him at least. Drew McIntyre picks up the win. Drew always looks good, but damn. Not like Barry Horowitz. Not like Barry Horowitz at all. Who, by the way, Barry Horowitz on Facebook is the most annoying person on earth. Barry Horowitz is constantly posting statuses, and it's the real Barry Horowitz, not some fan account. It's the real Barry Horowitz. Keeps posting these comments saying, "Oh, what do you think? Barry Horowitz, WWE Hall of Fame?" No. And then you have all these freaking marks that are on his page. "Oh, yes, Mr. Horowitz. Yes, you should be in the Hall of Fame." Nope. Although Coco Beware, anything is possible, I guess. If Coco Beware is in the Hall of Fame, anything's possible now. But no, Barry Horowitz, you should not be in the Hall of Fame. No. 24/7 Championship, 2-on-1 handicap match. R-Truth versus Samir Singh and Sunil Singh. Samir Singh is the champion. Goes to a no contest. They do the typical WWE 24/7 Championship chase around the ring. It was super slow motion tonight. R-Truth looked like, I don't know, he just wasn't into it tonight. Their timing was a little off. Singh's run backstage. They run into Eric Rowan, who beats them up, and that's the end of that. It was great. Look, the 24/7 Championship had an unbelievable run. When it debuted in May, I always say this, when it debuted in May, I was not happy with it. I thought my rant was epic. Daniel Schell still talks about it to this day. It was one of my better rants. It was one of my more epic rants, but I was not a happy camper, and I didn't see bright things in the future. I have also admitted that I was dead wrong over the summer, and someone out there is going to be like, "Well, Mike, you have no credibility now, you son of a bitch." I thought the WWE 24/7 segments carried the show in certain cases, particularly the story arc that they did where Drake was going to finally consummate his wedding with Renee Michelle. They're in the hotel room. He's standing there naked with just the 24/7 Championship around his waist. Like that was probably the best comedy that WWE has done, probably in their history. It's up there in the top 5, right up there with Choppy Choppy Your Pee-Pee. Like that kind of good comedy. It was just goofy crap, hilarious. But the joke has since passed. It is lingering now. Granted, they're not beating you over the head with it. In fact, last week it wasn't even on the show. But it's time for this thing to go the way of the dodo. It had a great run, but now when I watch it, like the only thing that pops into my mind is the Ric Flair retirement song. You got to leave the memories alone. Got to move on from that. Anyway, moving on. Seth Rollins is out. Live reports stated that he got booed out of the building. CJ makes a great point too, by the way, before I move on to the Rollins thing. Well, Andrew does too. Now that the 24/7 title has died, just need Hornswoggle to come in to finish it off. And CJ says Santino and the 24/7 title would be hilarious. Oh, if Santino could still go. If he could still do his thing. But look at Santino. Like, spent his time as a job guy, wound up leaving with a serious neck injury. Because you have to take so much punishment as a jobber. You know, that's Sin Cara saw the writing on the wall there. Pretty good. Seth Rollins. So the live report stated that Seth Rollins got like booed out of the building. I'm sure they turned the mic. I'm sure they turned the crowd mics down. It didn't come off as badly on TV, but Jerry Lawler was calling the crowd finicky, so they were mad at their audience, you know, for booing Seth Rollins, even though the way things were trending, this was always going to happen. And Rollins, to his credit, sometimes he can act like a little whiny baby in the ring. You know, he's kind of like the male version of Sasha Banks, where if things don't go his way, he kind of wears it a little bit. He wears it a little bit, and it shows in his performance. Tonight, he was playing into it a little bit, or Friday night, he was playing into it. And he did a fine job. He said, at this Raw is my home, and at Survivor Series, my gang is going to finish what NXT started. As for tonight, he wants to face the best the United Kingdom has to offer, and that sends out Walter and Imperium. Walter does a promo, says that he is the ring general. He's here to reclaim the honor of this sport. Just because Rollins isn't in the United States doesn't mean he's safe from the NXT takeover. So we have a match, Walter and Seth Rollins, non-title match. The WWE United Kingdom Championship is not on the line. And it was always going to end in DQ. For whatever reason, they don't mind. They don't mind beating Daniel Bryan. They don't mind beating The Miz. But no one on Raw can be beat by anybody from NXT. OC goes over to NXT. They can't get beat. It just winds up being a no contest. Seth Rollins faces Adam Cole. It's a no contest. NXT, there should be some beating of somebody. Come on now. But I was hoping, so I knew that Walter wasn't going to obviously win this, or that there was not going to be a finish anyway. I was hoping though that it would go more than one segment. They kept it contained to one segment, and I was just kind of getting into it. And then Imperium attacked them from behind. Now, normally, I would say, okay, fine. They gave you a little taste of what they can do. We'll see what happens later on. But I don't know if we'll get another actual opportunity to really see Walter and Seth Rollins in a singles match again. It's no secret Walter he's a European dude. He wants to stay close to home. I don't think he wants to go on the road to the United States. So the chances of him coming to the main roster are pretty nil. So if this was our one chance to see Seth Rollins and Walter, even if it was going to be a bullshit non-finish, something that in general would make people extremely upset and disappointed. This is where AEW's time limits would come in handy. Let these two just kind of go for give them a 20-minute time limit and have it go to the 20 minutes. I want to see Walter and Seth Rollins as much as possible on television. I really do. It's a good matchup, a really good matchup. But alas, it was only one segment, and it was just getting good when Imperium interfered. That sends out the Street Profits, try to even the odds. They get overwhelmed, so Kevin Owens runs down Rollins, the Street Profits, and Owens clear the ring. We get 8-man tag, Seth Rollins, Street Profits, and Kevin Owens versus Imperium. Rollins, Street Profits, and Kevin Owens win after Rollins hits the stomp on Alexander Wolf. Jerry Lawler was not good in this, I will say. And overall, other than Walter, their treatment of the NXT UK guys, it's like NXT used to not be the main roster. That used to be the developmental league, and now that they have a TV deal, it's like, okay, well, they're also the main roster. And now NXT UK is that lower. They're the lower tier. They're always the lower tier. I don't know what the hierarchy is. Is 205 Live over NXT UK, or is it the other way around? I don't know. Well, at least NXT UK gets their own tapings, and 205 Live just kind of like plankton on a ship is just tagging onto SmackDown. I don't know, but they definitely weren't treated well. Jerry Lawler spent a lot of time these guys, he just sounded confused by the whole entire experience, and it didn't bode well for taking Imperium seriously, and they got beat anyway. So there you go, and then that was that. Walter disappears. No more Walter. Very sad. But during this match, ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous. Montez Ford, by the way, a veteran of the armed forces, great dude. The most insane somersault senton plancha I have probably ever seen. The air he got on this, he got so much air hitting this plancha on Walter. He overshot him by a mile and landed on the commentary table. It was ridiculous. It was scary at first. I know he survived it because he's still on the tour, but he's not wrestling either. Angelo Dawkins is doing the wrestling. It's Angelo Dawkins versus Shelton Benjamin on the live events right now. And so I don't know if Ford's a little shaken up or sore. I wouldn't doubt it, and it's totally understandable. But you have to see this. It's incredible. Check this out. Look at that, and look at that. Amazing. And then Angelo Dawkins, who is just incredible. Look at that height. Look at the air he got on that. Incredible. Dawkins is just such a great big guy, too. Man, oh, man. Montez Ford is freaking awesome. He is friggin' awesome. That, amazing. I thought initially he was dead. Like, I was like, oh, my God. Oh, my God. Very good. Very, very good stuff. A fun tag match. I like Imperium. I like to see them do. They had them come over when NXT debuted on USA Network, and I haven't really seen Imperium since. I'd like to see them at least get another go on the NXT show on USA Network. We'll see what happens. That'd be a great little December thing, in between takeovers. Kind of have Walter and Imperium maybe go against Undisputed Era. Hey, I'm just laying it out there. Don't have to take my ideas, but that'd be a fun little thing to keep people tuning in around Christmas. Okay. Andrade versus Cedric Alexander. Cedric Alexander said in an interview that, yes, it is true. I was buried at the behest of Vince McMahon, which was like, I'm sure he was joking, but just, you don't want headlines that say that. It's just dumb. Anyway, he continued. He gets beat by Andrade in short fashion. We have Aleister Black sitting backstage. He talks about a person who has secrets that are not so well kept. People hear him speak in prophecy. He dares this person to knock on his door and pick a fight with him. Well, I hope somebody knocks on this damn door and picks a fight with the guy. He's been asking since June or even May, I think. It's time to knock on the door and just get this thing going. Is Aleister Black ever going to take off from this gimmick or what? Because now it's starting to drag out a little bit, and I'm starting to get less and less interested every single segment I see. They're well-produced segments. He delivers all of his lines great, but it's time to start seeing some results at the same time. Let's see. As usual, they do a really good job honoring Veterans Day. They had John Cena talk about it, then they did a video package. Lana makes her way to the ring. Okay, here's your disaster segment of the night. And as I was watching it, I started like it just popped into my mind. Like that Keanu Reeves meme where he's like, whoa. I was like, every week, when the ratings come out the next day, it seems like they've been putting this Lana Rusev thing in the third hour. And the third hour is tanking. And it's just like, is this a conspiracy theory where they just put the worst segment that would make nobody want to... No, it's impossible almost to keep your finger off the channel change button. Are they doing this to try to convince USA Network that they don't need a third hour? Look, we can't sustain it. Just like... No, you're not gonna be able to tell me that internally everybody wants this third hour. The creative definitely doesn't want the third hour. Triple H has gone on record to say that he does not like the third hour. Wrestling should just be 2 hours always. Hey, if they can get the same money and keep it at 2 hours, that would be sweet. But man, it's just so bad. It's like it's so painfully bad. That's like, are they doing this on purpose to try to get them to just get rid of this third hour? Just give into it already? Oh. Andrew Elder, hey Mike, SmackDown has the Fiend Bray Wyatt, so now Raw has the Sex Fiend Rusev. Pretty much. This sucked. It sucked so bad. Lana talking about having sex with Bobby Lashley. That's their sex anniversary. She's 9 weeks pregnant, but she had sex with Rusev for 7 weeks ago, so she's pregnant with Rusev's Machka little brat. She says that she knows it's Rusev's because she believes in monogamy, except for that one time 7 weeks ago, and now she's monogamous with Bobby Lashley, so she's not just a hoe sleeping around, yes. Rusev comes to the ring. She says it's, he's a sex addict. He wanted to have sex, at pay-per-views, on the tank, backstage, in the ring, during Undertaker segments. I don't know. It's like what? It's like this was just a mess. It was a mess. Rusev and Lana. It's like they're a real married couple. Like you could tell that it's just bleeding through that they don't want to be doing this. Like it just feels uncomfortable. Either they have the worst chemistry of any married couple that's ever lived, or it's bleeding out that they don't want to do this. CJ, YouTube and Instagram numbers, they have done studies that YouTube and Instagram don't translate to anything other than, hey, we got a lot of views. It doesn't translate into actual interest in the product and people tuning in to see it or wanting to spend money on it. People will hear that it's a horrible segment and they'll go watch it later on. That's why they get. It's not that they're interested. It's more like when you're interested in a car accident on the road and it's like, you're driving by it and it's like, you just got it. Everybody does it. You just kind of give that little side glance, hoping to see somebody's arm sticking out of a glove compartment or something like that. It's morbid curiosity. Like, for example, the Hell in a Cell finish. That was one of the most listened to, one of the most watched Wrestleview Lives that we've done in a while, and one of the most downloaded Wrestleview Live podcasts, just audio, because people wanted to hear the reaction to it because they heard it was bad, so they go out of their way to want to see it. Doesn't translate to like I wish that would carry over. I really do. Like all these people came and watched that Wrestleview Live. I wish that they would come and watch every single post Raw now, and they only watch when something's bad. Like the next night on post Raw, that was the highest. That was one of the most viewed post Raws that I've ever done. The next night after Hell in a Cell, because people wanted to know the follow up and get more on the hot takes of how horrible this was. This is another one of those segments where it's just like you just hear how bad it is, and you have to see for yourself how bad it is. And I would say a good portion of those people probably just sit there and be like, God, good thing I don't waste my time watching this on television anymore. Thank God for that. Thank God I am not really, an active fan anymore. I'll just watch on YouTube. Yeah. Anyway, this sucked. I guess they were trying to insinuate that Lana is not being honest about being pregnant. Obviously, she took a bump last week. She jumped on Rusev's back tonight. They went out of their way to not let Maria Kanellis do anything when she was pregnant and she became the 24/7 champion when she was very early into her pregnancy. So I don't think Lana's pregnant at all. This just sucked to high hell. It was about as bad as it gets for your wrestling soap operas. Eric Rowan versus Sonner Durson. Eric Rowan just kills him. Eric Rowan is doing this thing now where he's carrying an animal crate to ringside, and you don't know what's inside of it. I'm hoping it's Mercy the Buzzard, because that's our co-host on the show. Mark Andrews and Flash Morgan Webster versus the Viking Raiders, and Jerry Lawler was getting Flash Morgan Webster confused with Flash Gordon. So, yeah, but in all fairness, when I recapped NXT UK TakeOver Cardiff, I was doing the same thing. I actually, even when they won, I actually said Flash Gordon Webster until some angry person on Twitter, how dare you mix up his name? Well, they took it to the Viking Raiders a little bit, and then they got crushed. So, yeah. There was a scary moment here where Webster goes for a somersault senton on the back of that was supposed to be on the back of Eric, and he definitely miscalculated where he was going to land, and he landed on the back of his knees and on his ankles. And it's not hard when you're in the referee position. If somebody rolls over your leg, that it's very easy to snap your ankles. Very, very easy. Um, I cannot believe that Eric wasn't seriously injured by that. I can only assume it's just because Flash Morgan Webster is not a very he does not have a lot of girth to him, so probably wasn't as bad as if like Kevin Owens overshot and landed on his legs. That would be a different story. Anyway, after watching this, I've honestly maybe seen 2 regular episodes of NXT UK. Watching how NXT UK was portrayed here tonight didn't really get me all amped up to see them anytime soon, so there's that. Finally, we get our main event. Randy Orton, Ricochet, Humberto Carrillo versus the OC. Good 6-man tag. The crowd was pretty burned by this point. Humberto Carrillo gets the win over AJ Styles, so finally he pins AJ Styles, but it was only after Randy Orton hit the RKO and then just allowed him to pin him. So it wasn't really a decisive, interesting, finish for Carrillo, but he got his win. I don't if they continue to book him like that, if they want him to be a player at all, that's just not gonna cut it. It's just not. The story of the match was really just Randy Orton and Ricochet going back and forth. A couple of really good teases where Orton was standing behind Ricochet as he was getting up, and Styles was getting up behind him. He turns Ricochet around like he's going to hit him with the RKO, then he hits Styles with the RKO out of nowhere. After the match, they did a really cool thing. Orton, Ricochet, and Humberto Carrillo are talking with each other, and then Orton kind of slides over to hit him with an RKO just to tease it a little bit. So it was really good, especially because Orton and Ricochet are on Team Raw at Survivor Series. So you got to tease a little dissension among the ranks. I like it. It's good. It was really, really good. Randy Orton is now a face with his new 5-year deal, and that's about it. What do we think of Raw in the chat room, everybody? Let me know. Thumbs up, thumbs down. I'm going to show you the Twitter poll, which I'm sure much to Daniel Schell's chagrin, has 61% thumbs down, not quite 69. So I don't know how much activity Raw got on the interwebs. I know it never really cracked the top 5 trending. So there's not a lot of interest in the taped Raw tonight. Probably because there was so much time to get the results out there. Normally what they do is they tape, when they had the back-to-back, Raw and SmackDown, they would tape Raw on the Monday and then air it, couple, 2 hours after it wrapped up. So there wasn't, you could have avoided spoilers that way. And then SmackDown would be taped on the Tuesday, and then they'd air it that night. Again, not a lot of time to get spoilers out there, so a good portion of your audience might not even know that it was even taped. But letting it sit for a weekend, I think a lot of people knew, and a lot of people chose not to watch. So there it is. Oh, no. Oh, the 49ers lost. Oh, so sorry, Billy. Oh, that sucks. Anyway, thumbs down from everybody. I did not like what I heard from Nafi Sadat. Can't judge. Thumbs down. The Niners. Yeah, let's see. Yeah, not good. Quentin Walters looks like he's sick, so not good. Yeah, to me, there was some good. There was definitely some good on the show. The Kabuki Warriors, Becky Lynch. I gotta fix that. And Charlotte Flair. They had a good match other than Kairi Sane kind of being a step behind. Seth Rollins and Walter. Seth Rollins, Street Profits, Owens versus Imperium, and the main event. Those are pretty good, but overall, that Lana segment was just so bad. It's like I just can't overlook it. I have to give it a thumbs down. So for me, it's a thumbs down. Not the best Raw I've ever seen. Not the worst Raw I've ever seen either. And let's just say this: by this point in the WWE season, if you look at whatever last year was, same week, if you could look at last year's Veterans Day, which was probably I would assume it's probably the 10th. Let me just double check that real quick. I'll just go on my calendar. Yes, so the post Raw from November. Oh no, it's November 12th, 2018. How about that? November 12th. I bet you'll see me complaining about how boring this show is, how it falls off the cliff every single time they get past SummerSlam. Once football season starts, they just phone it in. It's the worst crap ever. We're not there. These are actually quality shows. They're not bad at all. I mean, even though I'm giving this a thumbs down, if this show happened during the doldrums of last year, particularly when they had that Raw, and yeah, I get it, Twitter polls aren't everything, but it was one of the most universally panned Raws I've ever seen. The one where Dean Ambrose got, and it's the one that Dean Ambrose says put him over the edge and made him leave the company, of course, where he was at the vet and he was getting those giant needles in his ass and stuff like that. It got 96% thumbs down and I think over 400 votes. It was something crazy like that. If this was sandwiched in between that, I would give this Raw a thumbs up and be like, oh, they're finally trying again. It's not bad. It's not all bad. But you know what? Like, even though this gets a thumbs down, I can tell they're experimenting with things. The reset of Raw is still going. They're still trying to build stars. They're just in reset and start retelling the story mode. And it's so far in that aspect of it it's a success. So even though this gets a thumbs down, they're still doing some pretty good things. I see some good things on the horizon. And with that, I'm going to wrap up this show because I am just exhausted. The baby was up late last night. It's time to wrap this thing up. Clinton says SmackDown has a better roster by far, and I'm trying to wrap this up, and I don't agree. SmackDown has the most established roster by far, but I think in terms of pure talent, I think, and who can you get the best performances from? I think Raw has that because Raw needs to have the stronger in-ring talents to fill out that 3 hours. SmackDown doesn't need that, so you have a lot of guys like, Braun Strowman, Bray Wyatt over there, guys that aren't going to have super long matches on television. The Miz, who's a good hand, not the best hand. He needs to be in there with somebody who's good to have like something really, really special happen. The workhorses are on Raw, in my opinion, and I think if they can establish some stars and get them going, like tonight, like they need to do some more with Buddy Murphy. He could, I really like the potential of Buddy Murphy. I really do. He could be, this could easily be a great roster, and there's so many young guys on this roster that these could be the guys that carry WWE into the next generation. So to say that SmackDown has a better roster, they have the more established roster. Clinton's clarifying SmackDown has the more well-rounded roster. I guess. For now, at least, until they establish these guys and, give them some rounding. Anyway, I do want to wrap this up. I do have to get to bed. I was a zombie today at work, and I want to be the educator that can take the children to the mountaintop and enjoy learning again. So I'm going to wrap it up. I want to thank you all for joining me tonight. Great chat room. A lot of fun talking with you all. I actually can't believe I got this much out of a taped Raw. I thought I was just going to go a half hour and call it a day. I wound up going almost an hour. So fun stuff. I hope you enjoyed the show. I will be back next week with Post Raw number 60, another good round number. Until then, I am Mike Tedesco, the editor-in-chief of Wrestleview.com. Have a great night, everybody. Have a good weekend. Or good week. I keep thinking, I wish it was the weekend. Have a good one.